Alright, so I touched on this subject a little bit in my last video, but I want to like make it like a bit bigger. So sensory attunement, right, is when you just pretty much tune your senses. Now with that being said, right now your senses are tuned a certain way, therefore you perceive this reality. If you learn to tune your senses, right, differently, you could perceive different realities. Now with that being said, how would you actually practice sensory attunement? So there's the first way, which is simply by intent. If you start to set intents to, for example, the channel, your senses will tune to that frequency. If you set an intent to perceive the astral plane, it'll go to that frequency. If you set an intent to perceive the future, it'll go to that frequency. That's divination. I'm gonna make a video about divination because divination, if you are gonna practice it, it should be practiced in a very certain way. I feel like personally, because there's a reason why I got deemed as evil. It's not necessarily evil, but there is some problems with divination that I will talk about in a later video. So you have that, anything you want to do, anything you want to perceive, you just set your senses to that. Now there's the other way of actually learning how your senses get to, like, for example, so when you set the intent, right, you kind of just naturally, you just let your body do this shit. And usually, like, at first it'll take long, you feel me? Then as you do it more and more and more and more, it'll be fast to tune your senses like that. But you could also like look up shit like what state is your brain in, when you're like astral projecting, or like, what, like, you just look up shit like that, or like what state are people in with their channeling and stuff like that, you feel me? You can look up what parts of your body is active when you're astral projecting or channeling or whatever the fuck, you feel me? That type of stuff, if you could find the type of information, right, then you could learn like what frequencies to play or stuff like that, or what instruments or whatever the fuck, you feel me? You could learn like you could learn certain herbs to use and stuff like that, you feel me? That's how herbs can be beneficial, like herbs and psychedelics and all that type of shit. Those are like a big, see, people think that's a big ass cheat code, but it's really not, because it could be a huge ass drawback for you also. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing with the herb, psychedelic, whatever the fuck, you feel me, you could really fuck yourself up, you feel me? But if you do know what you're doing, you could really benefit from that shit, you feel me? And yeah, so that's where that shit comes. Crystals also help tune your senses. Yeah, so if you start learning how to use those objects, you can tune your senses in a more conscious manner. But if you do the whole entire intent thing, you'll learn also. Plus, while doing the whole entire intent thing, if you get really good at being aware of what goes on inside your body and stuff like that, you'll kind of feel what parts of your body are like changing and stuff like that, you feel me? And then you'll learn how to create those changes within inside yourself. You learn how to recreate the state. And I think I said pretty much enough about sensory attunement. Yeah.